What's up, everybody? Peter McKinnon here. Welcome back to another video. This is episode 5 of editing your photos. You guys submit your photos to me through the email pmeditsmyshots@gmail.com. I only open it and make that email active when I'm doing one of these. So right now, if you email it, it's going nowhere. Also, as a little disclaimer, if you ever email your photos to anything other than the actual PM Edits My Photos email, they're deleted, they're blocked, and they will never be featured. First and foremost, I always like to start these episodes with a little bit of a disclaimer that is, thank you to everybody that submitted a photo, because it takes a lot to send in your raw shots to get judged by everybody, including my edits, judged by millions of people. So it's also a reminder that this is just my style, it's my preference. I'm not claiming to make these photos better. In some cases, I think that sometimes I maybe make them worse, but it's all subjective because photography and art, they're subjective. With all of that stuff out of the way, let's jump into photo number 1 from Andrew Dean. I'm fairly new to photography, inspired by your work and YouTube channel. Thanks, Andrew. Here's my favorite shot from my honeymoon trip to the Grand Canyon from a little over a year ago. A storm was rolling in and I got this really moody shot. Hope you like it. There is some great stacks, as I like to call it, in this photo. That's where the photo kind of just keeps paying off into the distance. You have your foreground, you kind of have like the middle ground, which I'd say is the river, and then you have the background, which is just the continuous, the Grand Canyon ongoing, and that just looks great. So I love it when an image is stacked and it has multiple vantage points, if you will, beginning, middle, and end, let's call it. Your framing, your composition, picking this shot with the conditions that you had that day, stellar. Love it. Now, one of the things I want to do right away is when I think Grand Canyon, I think desert, I think Arizona, I want to make this photo a little more warm. So what I did is I warmed that photo up and I dehazed it. Now, dehazing is going to get rid of a lot of the cloudiness that's in that background and being able to see more of it. And I ended up with something that looks a little bit like this. Now, I didn't go too hard on the warm tones, the orange tones, tried to keep it kind of subdued because we do have that haze in the background, but this to me feels more like what the Grand Canyon would look like versus the blue. It's not a crazy edit. I straightened it out, I cropped it in a little bit. Andrew, as it is, that photo was phenomenal, so it didn't need much tweaking to get to where I'm happy with it. And this would match my grid perfectly right now, so great shot. Thank you for submitting, and congratulations on about now being married for a year. Next up, we have Austin Hartley, who has an image of the Taj Mahal. Phenomenal. Like, when do you get to see the Taj Mahal with 0 tourists surrounding it? So, what's up, Peter? What's up, Peter? Hope you like this. Was up at 3:30 a.m. and had the place to myself for like 20 minutes, he says. Coolest experience of my life. Wow, that's pretty awesome, being able to walk around the Taj Mahal with nobody. That's dope. When I'm looking at this picture of the Taj Mahal, one of the things I want to do is brighten it up because I want to see the subject a little more clearly. The fact that you are alone. I want this photo to show, look at this grand, incredible architecture and nobody there. The second thing, you can see a bit of gradient in the sky near the bottom here. You can see like there's some color to be pulled out there, but I'd love a little bit more clouds. I'd love to see a little more detail in the sky. So I'm going to do a sky replacement. Now, I'll put in a little asterisk here, a little disclaimer. There's quite a few sky replacements in this video. If you're one of those purists, photographers, and I have nothing wrong with that vision and that line of thinking that hates photos where skies are added or things are added to enhance the photo with editing. If you don't like that kind of stuff, you're not gonna like this episode. So just go get a beer or something like that, because this is not for you. I'm gonna replace this sky with this picture that I took from Iceland. Now, it's a little too contrasty and saturated, so I'm gonna bring that saturation down, and then I'm gonna mask out the entire Taj Mahal. So what I wanna do is hit select and mask using Photoshop. I can go to select and mask, and I can click on everything that I want to remain in the photo. We can also get these little peaks, these tiny little peaks of the Taj. I can get those with the refine mask tool. That tool allows me to get branches and hair and things that are very hard to mask out with a normal hard brush. And then I'm going to hit OK, which makes the background completely transparent. We'll unhide that layer, and there is our sky background. And once we add the rest of our edits and then throw a color grade on top of that entire sky replacement so that everything blends together nicely, we end up with a finished photo looking like this. I really like the way the Taj Mahal looks when it's white and a little bit whitewashed. You can see I very heavily desaturated that Iceland sky, but you can also see the subject now in the center, very much alone in front of this grand architecture, this incredible building. Thank you so much for submitting this photo. Boop! Next up, we have Clayton Stuart. Work your magic. Ha. Magic. Taken with the Canon M50 and kit lens in the mountains of East Tennessee. I love that it's just like a simple shot. The little drop of water is just hanging off the edge of that leaf. And just in seeing it right away, I know that I can bring that richness out. I want to make those super lime greens a lot darker. I want them to be rich, deep, blue, teal greens. Let's just fast forward and show you my finished edit. Looks like this. Now you can see the richness of that green really pops out, but it very clearly shows you all of the water. That's my edit, and all I really did with this was mess around with the HSL tabs, and you can see that in the edit that I'm doing here, which is kind of bringing that saturation up, the lightness down, and I move the greens far right to kind of get this deep color. This would make a great iPhone screen or a great laptop background. Or Clayton, thanks so much for submitting. Hope I worked my magic to your liking. Next up we have Hano. Wait, I'm sorry guys. If I mess up your names, it's hard to pronounce. Hano Wademeyer. Hano. That's cool. Hano took a great picture of Lofoten, which I've always wanted to go to. You get all these beautiful houses, these beautiful red houses up on these cool wooden platforms. You got an incredible mountain landscape in the background. If we look to the far right, you can see a little bit of warmth. Being that this was shot in RAW, and this is always why you should shoot in RAW, I can probably recover so much color from the sky, so much color from all the green grass that you see, the water itself, the blue, clearly sunset. We're gonna be able to get a lot of color recovery from this photo because he shot in RAW. So skipping right ahead to the full edit, wow, it's like someone just turned on the lights. Incredible. Super awesome capture, great composition, and I wish I was there, but now if we look back to that right corner and the left corner, we can see all of the colors that popped through. That was all accomplished by just lifting the shadows, upping the exposure a little bit, going through the typical just basic functions of Lightroom, your clarity, your contrast, your saturation, all those things, and then just messing a little bit with the HSL tabs. Super psyched on that one. Hano, great job. I don't know where this came from. Great job, thanks so much for submitting. And before we get on to the next photo, let's do a little surprise. What's in your pockets? No. Come on, man. This is a new thing. Like, I just did the whole intro. Like, it's like, everyone's excited. No. It's just like, what's in your pockets? No. Just play along for once. Just be like, come on. What's in your pockets? No. Let's try it again. I'll do it again. What's in your pockets? Right here. Front right. You actually carry that in your pockets. Award-winning templates. You just carry pieces of paper. Just pieces of paper. Front left pocket. 24/7 customer service. Let's just do this all day. What's in your pocket? Sell stuff. Online store. Other back pocket. Oh, back right pocket. Are you actually serious? All in one platform. Coin pocket. Did you know we were gonna do this? 10% off, squarespace.com/McKinnon. And you just filled your pockets with paper? You can do everything but work. So yeah, filled my pockets with paper. You're welcome. Still doing your job. Just play along for once, you know? No. In my pockets, Benchmade bug out. Benchmade bug out. What do you carry a knife for? Little envelope style leather wallet. Probably using a Velcro wallet, aren't you? You got against Velcro wallets, dude. They're practical. Moving on to the next photo from a gentleman by the name of Joe Tran. Taken in the Rocky Mountains near Canmore/Banff. Canada, what's up? Represent, phenomenal. There's lots of detail to be uncovered, and I love editing photos like this because you get it into Lightroom, you slide that exposure up, you slide those shadows up, and it just like reveals an entire landscape, and you're like, wow, didn't see all that hidden in there. Sometimes it actually pays off to underexpose a photo a little bit so that you can recover it in Lightroom, because when you blow something out too far, it's often harder to recover those blown out highlights than it is to pump up something that's a little underexposed. So this was actually shot perfectly. Let's jump ahead to my finished edit. So this looks great. I wanted it to feel like it was nighttime with just a little bit of that last glimmer of light hitting the peaks of those mountains, the reflection, pure glass. So I kept that kind of blue tint, which makes it feel like nighttime. But what I did is I desaturated those blues so it wasn't super bright and in your face. Now at this point of the day when you're still getting sun on the peaks of the mountains, you would never see stars, ever. Maybe somewhere, but highly unlikely. I added the stars in post. It really adds a lot to the photo. It just makes it feel magical and mythical and like, where is this incredible place? Is this even Earth? And I love evoking those types of feelings from photos. I love it when someone looks at a shot and they just think, where? How? Is that even possible? Like, I like that. I enjoy that. I know it's not practical. I know it probably couldn't possibly exist, but as far as creating art goes, this I'm a fan of, and this is the type of art I like to create. So I'm super pumped with how this turned out. Joe, thanks so much for that capture. I can only imagine what it was probably like sat there with a tripod as the sun was setting, capturing those frames. Banff is just such a special place to me, so thanks for submitting. That was phenomenal. Moving on to photo number 6 from Mike Van Zanten? Let's call him Zanten. Would love to see what you could do with this shot. I'm not sure if it's raw. I took it straight from my camera onto my phone. I don't have any other way since I'm still here in Iceland right now. Beautiful, in brackets, which yeah, it is. This shot was from Goofafoss. Iceland just feels a little bit like every single spot there was named by going like this. We have a beautiful long exposure of a waterfall, just making that water look milky smooth. If you're wondering how to do this midday, you're gonna need an ND filter with a long exposure of about anywhere from like a second to 6 seconds, depending on how smooth you want that water to look. If you need an ND filter, I know where you could get a pretty awesome one. When it comes down to a lot of these shots, guys, for this Edit My Photos series, a lot of them are so great they don't need edits. Like, this could just use a tiny little bit of saturation and it'd be good to go. This is just me adding my style. When I think of Iceland, I don't so much think of all of the green that I see. It's more of a red, a brown it's just that moody brown, dark, deep Mars looking rock. So I went ahead and I changed all of that to match that kind of imagination that I have and what I felt I saw when I was there. So if we jump ahead to my finished edit, it looks like this. Another thing I did up top was replace the sky. Not a ton of clouds, but just enough to give it that deep, almost black and white feel. It brings it home for me. It matches the water below if you look at the tones in the water. So this was a great capture, phenomenal job. Hope you enjoy the rest of your trip if it's not already over. If you got more shots like this, I think you probably got a lot of bangers. So good job. Sorry that I messed up your name. Thank you for submitting. Moving on to photo number 7 from Nemeth Norbert. It says, hey Pete, these are some of my favorite shots from my recent trip to Iceland. Here we go, we're back. A beautiful picture here of this little house, this ranch, this farm. I love the foreground. It's so blurred with that rich bokeh. It looks incredible. Then you have that nice sharp compound, right dead center frame. The mood is incredible. Classic Iceland, I just love that. And then we have another shot of these horses here. Look at the eyes. I don't even know horses had eyes like that. That's insane. Looks like a White Walker. If that horse was white, it would look like it came from beyond the wall. I want it to feel like a little bit like a film stock. I just wanted to kind of punch out all the color that I already see in it. So skipping ahead to my finished edit, kept it subdued. I kept that mood in there. I have a preset called Ember in my fall 2018 preset pack. Plug again. But I just wanted to kind of humor myself and see what it would look like editing that exact photo with one click of this Ember preset. And this is what we came up with. And I like it. I think I like the other one better, but this is a very stylized shot. So that was kind of like my little bonus second edit of this. So moving on to those horses, just kind of bringing out those colors, making sure those blues were a little shifted towards the teal and then desaturated on top of pumping up the saturation of the orange, of the warm tones to really make those horses punch. Then I added a little bit of a mask to just brighten those horses. I added another mask and darkened the entire photo except for the horses, but subtly, just enough to make them pop off the frame. Just what beautiful animals, what a beautiful capture, and what a beautiful place Iceland is. Really special shots. Thank you so much for submitting, and I hope you like the edits. All right, moving on to photo number, what are we at? 8. Photo number 8, Taylor Timms. He's got a picture of a dirt biker ripping through some trails. Now you may have seen the thumbnail. You might know where this is going. He's a 24-year-old guy from Australia who gardens and mows lawns for a living, but takes photos in his downtime. So let's take a look at this desert shot. When I saw this photo, I thought of a photographer by the name of Aaron Brimhall. You should all follow him. I aspire to shoot like Aaron Brimhall. His stuff is so unique and I love him. He's a dope person and he's a dope photographer. So when I see this shot, I thought, I'm gonna Brimhall the shit out of this photo. Jumping ahead, we have this. And I feel like I realized all of those things. Colored it a little bit, tried to warm it up, used my Ember preset, plug again, and then I added several layers of fog to make it look like there was lots of dust being kicked up. Like this was a race that was happening. People were moving through here. This guy is mobbing through. Dust, sand, actual sand. So I went online, found a couple isolated shots of this sand that I was able to bring into Photoshop, and then I wanted to kind of cover the bike. If you were actually mobbing through here, the bike would be pretty much engulfed in a lot of this smoke, a lot of this dust, so I did that. One of the things I thought is all the flags, all the kind of streamer flags, like the finish line race flags in the background, they need to go because they just deter from the subject. I replaced the sky with something else, doing the same select and mask, using that refined edge mask tool to really get rid of all the trees and branches and leaves, both flipping back between Lightroom and Photoshop, and we're left with a photo that I am psyched on. It's turned out really good. This is my favorite of the bunch, but it was the most work. It took at least like 45 minutes to do. So Taylor Timms, thanks so much for submitting, and yeah, I appreciate that. Last but not least, we have Vanessa W. It looks like kind of like a Brandon Wolfel inspired neon shot, and then we also have what looks like some kind of a subject sitting on a stairwell with the trees high above. Moving forward, let's take a look at that neon portrait. Bam, that's kind of where we end off. Now, because I thought this was Brandon Wolfel inspired, because let's be honest, the guy you see posting like this the most is typically Brandon. He loves to move his blues towards that teal vibe. Tried to kind of do that. Pumped up a lot of the colors, changed them to be what I thought was more flattering, giving that photo an overall cooler vibe. Then I brought it into Photoshop, looked up on Google just some isolated sparks, brought those sparks into Photoshop, changed the color of them from red to blue, pasted those on, changed the blending mode. Because I had to stretch those out so much, they were a little pixelated, went through and blurred them, added a little motion blur to kind of make them feel more like bokeh, like they were out of focus elements. And that's kind of where I landed. And I'm actually super psyched on this. I think it turned out great. I think it's a very Brandon Wolfel style photo, and I use him as the mark to beat because he's the guy when it comes to photos like this. So I'm psyched on that. I think it looks great. That was a great capture, and it just took a little bit of editing. And let's move on to your second one. Exactly what I thought would happen by just raising that exposure a little bit, the shadows just a little bit, and then landing those greens in that sweet spot, changing those greens closer towards the teal, dropping down that saturation and raising the brightness. That gets me this kind of nice earthy green. I pumped up the orange just a little bit to make that subject's skin pop, added some exposure mask to that to make that subject pop off those stairs even more so, and then obviously dropped all the highlights so that tree came through at the top very well. This photo works because it was shot underexposed. If you tried to expose for those trees in camera, the foreground would be completely black. You wouldn't be able to recover anything. So by underexposing this photo, we were able to save it and bring out the detail, which I'm sure the photographer saw when she was shooting this photo. So Vanessa, great job. Thank you for submitting. I hope you like my edits. So that's it, guys. That is editing your photos, episode 5. Had a lot of fun. These are great shots. You guys are phenomenal photographers. I will announce again through my Instagram when I am doing the next episode. If you don't follow me on Instagram, it's at Peter McKinnon. Go ahead, give me a follow, say hello, keep up to date with the shots, with the community, join the conversation. I'll post a story when I'm making these episodes telling you to submit 2 p.m. edits my shots at gmail.com. Otherwise, anything else will be immediately deleted. Guys, thanks so much. Appreciate ya. Hit the like button if you like this video. Smash it. Oh, punch it in the face. Assault it. Do whatever you want. It's your life. By all means. Hit the dislike. I mean, it's still engagement, but I prefer you to hit the like. That's all I got, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.